tonight, earthquake hits close to White Island, calls for an outright ban on sunbeds, and the lead up to the Motorhome and Caravan Expo. Kia ora and welcome to Central News for Thursday the 26th of February. I'm Amanda Harper. In today's news, an earthquake registering 4.9 on the Richter scale has hit near White Island this morning. GeoNet reports the quake was about 105 kilometres north of the volcano. It struck at about 8:30 and was around 10 kilometres deep. This is the second strong earthquake to hit the region this week, with a 4.7 quake striking on Monday. White Island's alert level remains at 1 and its aviation colour code is at green. Consumer NZ and the Cancer Society are calling for an outright ban on commercial sunbeds. Although both organisations support amendments to the Health Amendment Bill banning the provision of sunbed services to under 18s, they argue the ban does not go far enough. Chief Executive Sue Chetwin says Consumer has been surveying sunbed businesses for over a decade and the results have been alarming. She says mystery shopper surveys done from 2010 to 2012 found many operators ignoring or unaware of the safety guidelines of the voluntary standard. And in a 2013 survey, 2/3 of sunbed operators did not comply with the standard. Yellow no parking lines outside a Tauranga special school have lasted less than a fortnight after an outcry from the school forced the City Council to admit fault and have them partially removed. Council contractors removed a section of the yellow lines from Kaka Street following a week-long internal investigation into why the markings were put in place without consultation with Kaka Street Special School. The markings were painted on Saturday, February the 14th, before a surprise principal, Barry Wickens, arrived the following Monday to find no parking available to load and unload students legally. Council admit the new yellow lines successfully addressed all-day parking concerns, but did not allow for the needs of the school minibuses. It is understood the road markings came after Council received one complaint from a resident and a couple of rubbish truck drivers. A Tokoroa teenager has signed a 3-year contract with the Canberra Raiders NRL club after 13 years of chasing his dreams. 17-year-old Dylan Clark will head over to Canberra next month for his first stint with the club and plans to move there full-time next year to start studying and playing. All travel, living and study costs will be covered by the club until the end of 2017. Dylan says the Raiders have always been his favourite team and that he is proud to follow in the footsteps of his uncle, Quentin Pongia, who was a prop for the side during the 90s. And now for our region's weather. Hamilton, tomorrow's outlook will be fine spells, afternoon showers and light winds. High of 26 and overnight low of 10. The rest of the Waikato will be the same with fine spells, light showers and light winds. Paeroa, your high is 26, overnight low of 13. Matamata, high of 24 and low of 12. Te Awamutu, 26 high and low of 10. Tokoroa, your high will be 23 and a low of 10 as well. Over in the Bay, Tauranga, fine spells with light winds. High of 24 and overnight low of 14. For the rest of the Bay, plenty, fine spells, isolated afternoon, evening showers inland. Te Puke, your high is 23 and low of 14. And for the marine forecast, west coast, southeast 15 knots south of Tidor Point, but variable of 10 knots elsewhere. Southwest swell of 1 metre and fair visibility in showers in the morning. High tide will be at 16 past 6. East coast variable 10 knots, northeast 15 knots developing this afternoon with a sea slight. High tide is at 3:34. Coming up, water levels in the Waikato. Welcome back to Central News. I'm Amanda Harper. In our next story, even though most of us welcome the beautiful sunny weather, there are others in our region who do not. We revisit Anne-Marie's interview with Waikato Regional Council Chairperson Paula Southgate, who gives us an update on the water levels.
Well, you're quite right. It's been very dry and very hot and very windy, and all of those things lead to loss of moisture in the soil. The good news is that compared to last year, there's a little bit more moisture left in the soil. That's been helped by a little bit of light recent rain. True to say that the rivers are still low, even though we are expecting some more significant rain shortly. But the situation isn't dire in respect to the farmers are coping with these dry situations. Not as bad as last year, but not comfortable. We haven't declared a drought. It's up to the government to decide when a drought will be declared, and they will declare that when they believe the farmers need some financial support and relief from government. At this stage, the view of government is that farmers seem to be coping quite well. Yes, you know, it is a struggle to manage the limited water supplies. There is some, in our area, there are some restrictions on irrigation, especially in the Waiho-Piako catchment. Hauraki, Piako are the driest areas, suffice to say, and they're looking forward to some decent rain. But the Rural Support Network has assured us that farmers are okay at this point in time. So we're watching, we're praying for rain with everyone else.
What is the criteria to declare a drought?
Well, it is at the point where farmers need to have some support from government. So we don't determine that the Minister for Primary Industries will make that call if there is a national drought. We will keep in touch with him and our rural communities, and if they come to us and they're clearly in distress and they're unable to sustain their business without some intervention from government, we'll be making calls on their behalf to talk with the Minister.
You mentioned Hauraki and Piako as being quite dry. Are there other certain areas that are drier than the others?
Those are the driest in our region at the moment. As I say, luckily there is a little bit of more moisture in the soil than there was at the same time last year when it was dry as a bone. So that's better. It's not, as I say, comfortable, but it's better.
What are water levels like around the region?
They're all pretty low. The last little drop of rain did help, especially through the major river catchments. But no, suffice to say, they're not at the level where we would like them to be. But the Met Service assure us some rain's on the way.
Tell me about the Waikato story. What is that?
Yeah, well, that's a very exciting piece of work we're involved in at the moment. It's a chapter of the New Zealand story. Now, the New Zealand government launched the New Zealand story to promote New Zealand's opportunity in the international market. The Waikato story is telling our collective story about why we are the best region to come live, work and play. You know, it's about living and thriving, it's about learning and education, it's about investment and many other things besides. And we think we are an awesome region with a lot of potential for economic growth, with a lot of potential to be a really great place to live. And the Waikato story is the way that we tell that to everyone so we can attract that kind of positive growth.
What form does the Waikato story come in? Is it a book or a report?
It's web-based. So it basically will be like a drop-down chapter from the New Zealand story, which you can find online. And you'll be able to drill into various topics from there. You know, like, for example, education. Where would you learn? Where are the education opportunities in the Waikato? Housing opportunities, investment opportunities, all those kind of things. Cultural opportunities, environmental assets that we have. You can find those by going in the various parts of the story. Local councils can add their story to that over time. So it'll be basically like a pyramid with a New Zealand story at the top, Waikato being the first major chapter, and then the local stories coming out of that. So yeah, it's a very exciting piece of work, because unless we start talking with one voice, we're not going to harness all those opportunities that actually do exist. Waikato's a fantastic place, and it's got a lot to offer, and we need to start selling that proposition.
Ride the Road of Champions this weekend in the Rev Cycle Fest. It's the 10th year for the iconic cycling event.
The Rev's into its 10th edition, so we're celebrating the 10th time we've had this event. So it started in 2006, and yeah, 9 years, but 10th event, 10th edition, if that makes sense to those who are clever with their maths.
So how's it kind of evolved over those years?
It started off as an event that was always around road cycling, and it always had categories available for kids all the way through to elite. So it's evolved it's continued to evolve to keep catering for those people, and to make it a challenging ride, to make it an enjoyable ride, and to keep the loyalty factor. So there's things, we try to make the event really enjoyable, that people come back year after year to enjoy it. We try to keep the course consistent so that people have the chance to compare their previous year's times and go, I knocked off 5 minutes off my vest, and so it's, all those things. If you keep it consistent, people love coming back and enjoying the event for another time.
What is the course then? Whereabouts in the Waikato does it take us?
The course is a variety of things now. It's based out of Cambridge at the Cambridge High School on the eastern side of Cambridge town, and then the course heads east in a lot of ways. So for the 100k event, it goes over within the first 5k's, goes over a famous hill called French Pass. It's a good challenge. It's a good seeding hill, so everyone sort of finds their rhythm going up that. And then from then on, it heads towards Matamata, goes in through the outskirts of Matamata, and then it carries on around towards Scotsman's Valley and starts heading back towards Hamilton. So it does a big loop and ends up back in Cambridge. And it's around a bunch of hills, really, and it's relatively undulating, and it's challenging.
So if someone was starting out with road cycling, you wouldn't suggest that they start straight away with that 100k?
Well, the 100k is a challenge, and that's why people like setting challenges in their lives, and so that's, it's good. It's a nice round number. It's a milestone number, and it's got a reputation for being an event that is achievable but tough. But in saying that, we've got other events. So for those who haven't prepared, who are maybe new to the sport, there's an 18k event. We call it the Rev Intro. So it's an introduction to a big cycling event. And then there's a midway course, which is 55k, and we call that the Rev Midi. And that starts from Matamata and ends up in Cambridge. Yeah, so it rides the second half of the 100k loop.
The Rev 100 is the most popular category. Why do you think that is?
Again, it's like, for those who don't cycle, 100k might sound like a massive number, a big number. Why would you want to ride 100k? But if you're a cyclist, even if you're only new to cycling, it's not unachievable. It's a challenge though, and that's what is good about it. So riders like to set themselves targets, set themselves a challenge. Why do they go out day after day for a training ride? They need some goals in their lives, and that's where the events come along, and that's where the Rev fits in. And it's a really good challenge. It's a neat course. It's a beautiful course. It's on the roads of champions, so the roads that all our champion cyclists are riding on, all our rowers are riding on, all our triathletes are riding on, and they're country roads, and they're unique New Zealand country roads. Some of them are quite narrow, some of them don't have centre lines, some of them, they're right alongside cows and sheep and stuff in the back country, and around Matamata there's all the horse studs. It really is quite pretty.
Stay with us for more from Kevin after the break.
It sounds like a lovely scenic route, and it's on a lot of roads, open roads especially. I have to ask, do you guys take safety precautions?
Yeah, the event takes place on open roads. We can't close them all down, but safety is important to us, and safety starts way back in our planning. How we seed riders off the start line, so we're getting people grouped together of a similar ability, so they're riding amongst them people who are going at the same speed, people who can last the distance, so won't get fatigued. Trying to keep up in a bunch that's not, that's too quick for them, and when people get fatigued they make mistakes and all those things. So it starts way back in the planning. It starts how we let people off on the start line, the size of the groups that we let people go in, so they don't go off in too big of bunches. They're controlled bunches, and then we have a gap, and then we let another group go. It also, we let every resident around the course know what's happening, and we encourage them to, we let them know the times riders are coming through the area, so hopefully they, can plan their day, that they don't need to be out on the roads at that time. We work with the councils, we work with traffic management professionals, and we work with the police. So safety is important, it has to be. People want to come to an event like this and know that they're going to get from start to finish and be safe along the way. And we believe we've put everything in place to make that happen.
If someone was just getting into road cycling, I guess this would probably be a better event for them because there is so much safety involved.
And there is safety in numbers as well. So a group of riders has a greater presence than you on your own. So events, events are a good place to go out and learn and be part of something that's bigger than just you riding on your own and training. But I do encourage people to make sure they do get amongst riders of their own ability. That's one of the critical elements there. You don't want to get them either too fast or too quick or too slow a bunch.
This year the event introduces its newly awarded UCI 1.2 ranking for its elite event, the Rev Classic, a first in Australasia. So tell me how that was achieved and how it will actually change the event.
Yeah, well, this is the elite category of the event. So it's the pinnacle. It's the race within the event. So there's the recreational rides which we've discussed, and they're there for those that are wanting separate challenges, whether just easy ones or all the way up to the weekend warrior that's trying to race their age group mates. But this is a step up again. This is another level, and this is it's high quality. It's New Zealand's best riders, and in some cases Australian riders are coming over as well. It's team racing, so it's a little bit like what people might see on telly with the Tour de France, etc. So they're not they're individuals in 4 or 5 person teams, and they would have designated one rider from that team that they want to get across the line first. So they'll do their best to work the tactics, to work the course, know where the hills are, where the flats are, and work to the strengths of their team. And so they'll be pushing. They'll all have different tactics, but they'll be pushing to get their one rider to the finish. And that's how the team works. It's not about the individual necessarily. It's even though one person gets designated the winner, it's really about the team and the support that team can provide to that one person. So it is good. We've got some really cool teams coming. The New Zealand national team is here, so they put in a really strong team, and probably the highlight out of that team is Sam Bewley. He's in a world tour. He's on a world tour team, which is Orica Green Edge, which people would know from Tour de France. So he's at the pinnacle of the sport, and he'll be riding. We've got our defending champion coming back, Patrick Bevan, and he's riding for Avanti Team Racing, which is an Australian-based team, even though Avanti's a New Zealand company, and he's riding with a team around him to support him to do the best and probably defend his title with a bit of luck. Runner-up from last year's coming, a couple of ex-New Zealand champions coming along as well. So the field is really strong. It's about 55, 60 riders fronting up.
What a great way to see some of the beautiful Waikato. You can enter any of the categories on the day. That's this Saturday, the 28th of February. Find out more at therev.co.nz. Most Kiwis have a love for the great outdoors, and this weekend you can head along to the Camper Care NZ Motorhome and Caravan Show at Mystery Creek. This year's show will be different, as it doesn't just feature caravans and motorhomes. It's all about the leisure of the great outdoors as well.
Well, everything really for your outdoor lifestyle. There's motorhomes, caravans, mini pop-top campers, there's boats, fishing, everything for the leisure side. So it's everything that really encapsulates the great Kiwi outdoors.
And if you don't own a motorhome, it's the perfect place to come and see what's on the market.
It is, and there's quite a lot of show releases, so never been seen before, or 2015 new releases are released at the show. So there's all the major brands or all the favourite brands really of everyone of the main Kiwi dealers, plus overseas as well. So there's really something for everyone.
And motorhome and caravan owners can make quite a weekend of it, can't they, with the Top 10 rally?
Well, the Top 10 rally is really for those people who already own a motorhome or a caravan. They can come and stay on site. Everyone who arrives gets a goodie bag. They can stay free of charge, and they needn't be self-contained because there's toilets and showers, and we had a record crowd of 600 stay on site last year. So we've got the entertainment nights for every night they're here, plus there's a daily dairy, so they don't even have to leave to get their milk or bread.
Do people need to book a site, or can we just turn up?
We do recommend pre-booking, pre-registering, because you can end up being parked beside your friends, and the first 170 that come on site actually get a free bottle of wine in their goodie bag. So those that register either online or at the event, the first 170 get that bottle of wine as well as their goodie bag.
There will also be entertainment, as you mentioned, so movie night, music and American rock and roll.
Yes, tomorrow night's a movie night, so it's bring your camper chair or your and come and there'll be popcorn and a bar and things, and watch a movie in the Bledisloe. Friday night's jazz in the historic village, which is just gorgeous. So there's a jazz band and a barbecue down there, and then Friday night's a real big rock and roll night. So Saturday night is. So 3 great nights, really inexpensive as well.
How will New Zealand MasterChef contestants Nikki and Jordan be providing inspiration?
Well, they have just released a book about cooking in small spaces. So they are cooking twice a day, every day, around menus that are ideal for if you've got a boat or you've got a caravan or a motorhome, and ways that you can actually have more fun in just a little space and create something delicious. It doesn't have to be a big kitchen.
And there will also be a seminar series. So what's those topics going to be about?
There's a variety of topics, from towing tips right through to where to go in Australia if you're considering doing that, and right down to how to get the best mobile reception and things when you're travelling.
What was the standout thing for you from last year's festival?
I think it was this venue, really. It was the first time we had moved to Mystery Creek, and this venue suits a motorhome, caravan and leisure show perfectly. It was just wonderful. There's room for a massive rally, there's indoor and outdoor flow, and free parking for visitors. It really is the perfect venue for a show like this.
The Campercare NZ Motorhome and Caravan Show is all on at the weekend at Mystery Creek. Tickets are at the door, and you might see us out and about. Feel free to come and say hello. That is all from me tonight. If you like what you see, why not like us on Facebook? Just search centralnews.tv. Or if you think you may have a story lead or feedback about the show, email news@tvcentral.co.nz. We would love to hear from you. I'll be back again tomorrow night with more stories from the Waikato and the Bay of Plenty. I'm Amanda Harper. Have a good night. Paul Marier.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.